Sing to the rock, sing to the tree, sing to the firefly lighting up the sky. Sing, sing to the sea.
Hello, I'm Mary Whelan, and this is The Song, a show that features songwriters and their original songs. And today I am very pleased to present, all the way from New Hampshire, Song of the Lark.
Thank you, Mary, and thank you for having us here. We are Song of the Lark, and our songs are mostly instrumental, and they are representative of a journey around the world. So we're going to hopefully give you a sampling of our WCD and take you around the world. We're going to start with Brazil. And this is a tribute to Antonio Carlos Jobim, who is a wonderful composer in his own right. And then we will move into a medley of songs which bring you to the Mediterranean, to Paris, and just along the Mediterranean. So we will start with Brazil. As we said, the next song is going to be a medley of 2 songs. We're going to take you to the Mediterranean, and the first one will be in Paris. We imagine it as a Paris cafe on the streets of Paris. Not that we've been there, but some of us have. And it was originally actually a homework assignment when I was studying, and I was given a progression of chords, and I was to put a melody to it. The teacher didn't like what I did, but I did, and it turned into a song, and we kept it and called it Paris. We're going to go straight into another song called Mediterranean Breeze, and so it gives you the feeling, hopefully, of being on the Mediterranean by the sea. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Well, that was really very beautiful. Really enjoyed your music.
Thank you.
And I think your teacher was wrong.
I'm glad you confer.
And I'm glad you had enough confidence to realize that.
I probably just didn't do the assignment right or something, but I'm glad I got a song out of it.
Great. Now, you're known as Song of the Lark as a duo, but you are Rahel.
I am Rahel.
And Sue. Okay. And the music you're doing today, and the music that's on this lovely CD, Song of the Lark, is all composed by you.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Except for 2 improvisations that I consider joint compositions in a sense. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Sue does the improvisations?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. And so, do you want to talk some about your process of doing these songs and composing? I mean, most of the time we've had people on here who are doing lyrics, and I'll ask about, well, what came, first, the music or the lyrics, but there's no lyrics, and maybe you might want to talk about why you might prefer that.
I will talk about that. I do have other songs that have lyrics, and that is a different process. The process of these songs really were that either a melody came to mind, or I had my guitar, and as we said, there might have been a progression, some chords that came out, and I'd start humming a melody that seemed to go with it. Maybe I would change the melody a little bit according to it. Mostly, it's my process, I think, is what my friend nicely pegged as, we call it FCAT, empty space and empty time, FCAT. And I found that if I'm distracted, or, these days I don't write a lot because I'm always on the computer, on Facebook or something, but the process was that I would have to have a lot of free time, empty time. I could be driving in a car and a melody comes to you. But I really believe that a lot of times a Native American poet I read once said that you catch the songs are out there somewhere. And if you have that FCAT, that empty space and empty time, and you're open, then you can grab those songs and bring them to our world and then put them out there. So my process for this kind of melodic writing is really much like that. Just having that empty time to allow the songs to come through.
And I'm glad that you have the time sometimes to allow them to come through, because it's really lovely. Now, very healing. And I noticed in your bio and yours too, Sue, that that there's ways in which you connect it with healing. Did I read something about musical massage or something?
We are both, in addition to being songwriters and professional musicians, we are also, I'm a therapeutic music practitioner. I practice what I call music medicine, energy medicine with the music. I work in hospices and with the ill and the dying, and it's quite a profound experience. And Sue has worked for many years in special ed, and she's also a life coach. So the music is very healing in a lot of ways. Music can bring out emotions and feelings that just talking or a therapist can't necessarily do. A lot of times, the work that we do in therapy, in music medicine, is to when I'm sitting with somebody, people might start crying, and that's a good thing, where they wouldn't have cried if it was quiet. One time I was with a man, he was pre-op, and I played, and then he asked me to come and hold his hand. And why was that? He was frightened. I think he was frightened. He was a little bit frightened, and he started to cry. And this was a grown man, and it was probably embarrassing for him if anybody had been there. But I was a stranger, and the music that I had played obviously reached him on some level and allowed him to express whatever he was going through. And after that, he was fine. So you never know. The music does reach people on another level that other kinds of arts and modalities don't. So we contribute a lot through music, we can discover a lot about a person through music. So in that sense, it's healing. What we represent as Song of the Lark is we're offering what we call a musical time out. And we hope that this music will offer people a chance to just relax, not necessarily, go into an emotional crisis, but or expression, but if they do, that's okay. And a time for people just to have time out in the busy world that we live in. We don't take that time anymore. So we offer it as what we call a musical timeout, a musical massage, so to speak.
Yeah, it's very, very soothing to listen to it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, Sue, when you do the improvisations, what inspires you? How do you, like on the spot, to improvise something? How does that work for you?
Just the music itself inspires me, the melodies. And I didn't have any training doing improv. Once Raquel and I started playing her music, because I was classically trained, I didn't really ever have an opportunity to improvise and didn't think I could do it. And all of a sudden it just started flowing. There was a flow to it. So it's the music itself, I would say, that really inspires me. And it just comes. Kind of like the songs you write. You just kind of catch it.
Great. Well, why don't you do another one, and then we'll talk a little more.
Sure. I just want to say that part of the process was that a lot of these melodies came many years ago, even as far as the 1980s, and sat for a long time. And it wasn't until I met a person like Sue, and it was Sue who really brought them out and to the world and made them come alive. So sometimes songs can sit for a long time and not do anything. And they just waiting for the right person.
I once went to a critique with a pretty famous songwriter whose opinion was that if a song was more than 2 weeks old, that it was like cast in stone, and there were, that people weren't going to want to hear anything or hear any critique at all on something because they weren't going to change it at that point. But I just don't believe that. I feel like that you can change things years later, or or something's been sitting in your guitar case or whatever for years, and all of a sudden it wants to come out and be heard by the world.
I totally agree with you. I think that, knowing from my own experience, that the songs they had the melodies, and Sue was playing a fixed melody, but she's also then going out and developing and evolving the song, so it's changing a lot from what it was originally.
It's like a living song.
It's a living song. It's a living process, and it's very exciting, that process. We never know. Like today, she actually played a few notes in there that she's never played before, and I was like, "Wow, that's thrilling!" I was really excited to hear it.
Yeah, great, wonderful. Well, let's hear some more.
So the next song that we're going to play, as we said, it's an older song. It is accompanied by a poem. And to tell you the truth, I'm not quite sure how each one came about. But there is a melody and a separate lyric. And I lived in Israel for 22 years. So this poem is in both Hebrew and in English. And if you don't mind, I will recite it in both. And it's called New Moon, and the connection is between women and the moon, both going through cycles. And we experience the world, I think, a little bit differently, men, than men do, because we go through those kinds of cycles. And in Israel, amongst the very observant, there's a ritual every month to honor the cycle, honor the new moon. So this is called New Moon. I'll read it in Hebrew and then in English. Molad hayareach, Isha, yareach. Im kol yareach hadasha, start again. Molad hayareach, Isha, yareach. Im kol yareach hadash, ba'a Isha hadasha. החיים הם המחזוריות שהיא נושאת בקרבה. אישה, את חוגגת את בריתך עם השם. את יחידה ומיוחדת, כמו שהירח הוא אור באפלה. את שופעת חיים חדשים של חודשים יבואו. לבנה, את חוגגת אישה. This is new moon. Woman, moon. With each new moon comes a new woman. Life is a cycle she carries within her. Woman, celebrate your covenant with God. You are unique and full as the moon is light in the darkness. Flow with new life of coming months. Moon, celebrate woman.
Nice. Really like that. Now, I want to be sure people know where they can reach you online. What your website is?
Our website is www.
Yeah.
Song of the Lark as one word, dot, and then Weebly, that's WEEBLY.com. So songofthelark.weebly.com.
And now, if people wanted to purchase your CD, where would they do that?
They can go to the website, and there will be a link to the to CD Baby, which is a great online store. I recommend it to everybody. cdbaby.com/Sue Hurwitz and Rachel. It's probably easier just to go to the website, but that's where you can purchase it. It would, again, cdbaby.com/Sue Hurwitz, SUEHURWITZ, and Rachel, RAHEL.
Now, I know that in addition to the Song of the Lark CD that you have, that you've also have other CDs.
Correct. You can find, there's quite a lot of CDs. One is of the Hebrew Psalms in Hebrew and English, and there's folk songs, and there's also a lot of music for children, because we both also work with children, and we do music and movement and yoga with children.
That in school, right?
That was my major, musical theater arts for children, actually, and worked for a long time with the babies as young as 6 weeks, up to 5, 6, 7-year-olds, and all ages, really.
Wow.
And so that you can find on my personal website, which is RachelMusic.com, RAHEL music.com.
Okay, great. And are you on any other things, Reverb Nation or any of that stuff?
Yeah, there are Reverb Nation and all over the web. I think we've been, there's a lot of different places. I don't know. I haven't Googled my name or our name at all, so I'm not really sure. But I think if you Google Rachel, RAHEL, you might find there's a lot of different Rachels out there, actually. If you Google Song of the Lark or Rachel Music, I think something will come up. But
Now, I noticed, too, that you, in addition to studying the musical theater arts for children at Empire State College, you also studied guitar through the Berklee College of Music?
I took I studied as a child, as a youth. When I first took guitar lessons, it was with a private teacher who was a Berklee School of Music graduate.
Oh, okay.
And
So
I studied according to the Berklee School of Music method, the William Levitt books, if you're familiar with them. And so I think I got a pretty good foundation.
And you also studied jazz guitar.
I studied jazz guitar in Israel with Avner Strauss and with Eitan Zahavi, and of course picked things up along the way. And always learning something new. My influences were early folk of the 60s, James Taylor, Paul Simon. So a lot of my finger-picking style is based on their finger-picking style, called the Paul Simon pick or something like that, which is really Travis picking or something. I don't know what it is, but...
And now you have performed solo and with various groups and bands and ensembles, but are you currently mostly doing Song of the Lark or still doing other types?
Currently we do Song of the Lark. We're really working hard to promote this music because we feel that it's, number one, we feel it's very beautiful and it reaches a lot of people, and we feel that also it's helpful in this day and age, beneficial to a lot of people. So we're trying to reach a wider audience with it. We also we have a bunch of other musicians who we pull in whenever they're available: an accordion, cello, another guitarist, vocalist, more guitars, dobros, all sorts of things coming in, and we call that acoustic breezes. When we expand out to a larger group, and we do this music as well as popular songs, and we're slowly working into some of my own original songs into that group as well.
Now, the acoustic breezes, which is a larger number of people, if somebody were interested in having them play at some venue, would that be through the same website or a different website?
Same website. RachelMusic.com would be that's a catch-all website. It's got a lot of things. If you're interested in therapeutic music and any kind of thing, or children's music, it's all there.
Great.
And as a musician, we got to be a jack of all trades, right?
Oh, yeah. So
we have to do it all in order to get an income. So it's pretty much, you'll see it all on the website.
Great. Okay, well, I'm so glad you could come down on this very rainy, stormy day today from New Hampshire. And can you close out with one more?
Yes,
okay,
and
great.
Thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome.
Thanks for coming. Quite a long trek, and we weren't sure if we should come or not, but we said, we're New Hampshire people.
Yes, right? You could do it.
This kind of weather.
How many feet of snow did we have this winter, right? What's a little thunderstorm, right? So this next song that we're going to close out on is called Desert Journey. So as I said, even though all of these songs actually were born while I was living in Israel, and Israel being a melting pot of so many different cultures and musical influences. If you're a musician, you really want to go there and experience the wealth of music that's there. So many of these songs actually reflect that kind of a place. You could almost say like New York or Los Angeles, where there's a lot of different cultures, but not necessarily a desert. So this song is Desert Journey. For me, it was reminding me of being in the Sinai. For when we went and we were recording it with a larger band, it gave me a feeling of actually horses running wild along the shore. So it was no longer a desert. I don't know, or maybe there's a desert with some water, but that's the feeling. So if it brings you to another place, we're grateful for that too, wherever it brings you. So this is Desert Journey. And Sue, just take a moment. Sue is going to be playing on the alto flute, if you want to explain a little bit about that.
Yes, it's a bigger flute than the C flute that I normally play, and it plays lower, at a lower range than the C flute. Sometimes they're built like the C flute in the sense that the mouthpiece just goes straight up like this one does. But if you have smaller hands, then the curved head joint is just more helpful. You can reach the bottom keys better. But it has a beautiful mellow sound that I just really love to play and really enjoy playing. There's not a lot of music written for the alto, but maybe Raquel will write some more because I just can't get enough of playing this instrument. It's very different than what I usually play.
And for writing for the alto flute, I'm going to depend on you to choose which flute the music you think is appropriate for, because I don't know if I could write specifically for that, but definitely.
Yeah,
definitely we want to use that more often, and you'll hear it's very beautiful. So Desert Journey.